I was being detained and I was being held. They went through every text message I had on my phone. They went through my bank accounts, ripped them apart. And today I'm gonna tell you about the worst time. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's Ashley. This week I have something a little heavy to share with you guys. It's something that I haven't necessarily talked about before, and I know that this channel is for entertainment and from a break from the world, but I think if I didn't share my experience, I would be doing a massive disservice. So as some of you may or may not know, I am a Canadian citizen, Canadian born, Canadian raised, and I have a U.S. work visa. I've had a U.S. work visa since 2021, and I currently have one that goes until 2026. Pre-2021, I was still traveling to the States, not to make money, just to make connections. At the time, I was modeling, and it was very commonplace to do free photo shoots, collaborative photo shoots. It was to see my best friend and to just get out of Calgary. And I want you to keep in mind, at this time, I think I had reoccurring in my savings account less than $1,000. So we were not out here living the lavish life, doing anything like this. I wasn't doing anything extraordinary. I was just a struggling artist, trying to get as many followers as I possibly could and hoping to get a visa. Throughout the years of 2019 and 2020, I was detained, questioned, and had my civil rights and just human rights and just person violated a countless amount of times by the CBP. And when I mean countless, I mean for the course of a year and a half getting detained, questioned, and searched every single time I tried to cross the border. I'm not discounting my place of privilege when I say this. It is a privilege to travel, it is a privilege to be able to do this. That being said, I was violated so many times. I would travel at that time once or twice a month, crossing from Canada to the US, and every single time I crossed, I was detained for 4 hours plus. In 2019, I was flying from Dallas to Calgary, and I had a layover in Atlanta, and I go to get on the plane, headphones in, Chick-fil-A in hand. There's a police officer and a CBP officer, and they don't allow me to board the flight. What they do is they take me through the airport. Standing beside me is a female police officer, 4 police officers and CBPs in front of me, and 3 behind me, walking me through this airport in a fashion that I could only describe as humiliating. And I was trying to have a conversation with the woman beside me. I asked, do I need to call a lawyer? Can I call a lawyer? Can I call my mom? Can I go on the phone? What can I do? What do I have rights to at this moment? We cannot talk to you. We cannot talk to you. So for about 20-30 minutes, I walked through the Atlanta airport. We get to this room, and it's no better way to describe it other than an interrogation room. They treated me like a criminal, except for the fact that they didn't read me my rights. They didn't explain to me why I was being removed from a plane, not allowed on a plane. They just walked me through, told me not to ask any questions, and I was in this room, and then sat in front of me was a CBP officer this officer then proceeded over the next 6.5 hours. He proceeded to go through my phone, my bank accounts, my luggage, scanning my shoes, scanning every single thing, looking for something, looking for some evidence. And they're holding me in this room, telling me that I can't go anywhere until we have this conversation, until I basically prove to them. They went through every text message I had on my phone, asking who these people were, writing down their names, their phone numbers, their information. They went through my bank accounts, ripped them apart, and then they decided to sit down and go, listen, if you have anything that you want to tell me about the activities going on in the United States, we'll make sure nothing bad happens to you. We'll make sure you're okay. As if I was going to admit to something that I hadn't been doing. I wasn't allowed to call my lawyer, I wasn't allowed to call my mother, I wasn't allowed to call anybody. I was being detained and I was being held. And after 6.5 hours, when they found nothing, they said, okay, you're free to go. And off I went, sobbing, having an anxiety attack, terrified because I don't know what just happened. And there was not a single flight out of the Atlanta airport. leaving me to sleep on the floor of the Atlanta airport because I had no money and I wasn't gonna get reimbursed because the CBP doesn't do that. I'm coming here to share my experience because, like I had said earlier, this was not a one-off situation. This was every single time I traveled. So keep in mind, when this experience happened, when I crossed into the United States, I was also detained for 3 hours, where they searched my phone and my bank accounts and my bags, the same way they did when I was leaving. This was something I was subjected to every single time I traveled for a year and a half. And then even when I got a visa, they did the same thing. Because for some reason, the idea of a young woman traveling by herself to see friends, to experience the world, just to go to the States because she didn't want to be in Calgary anymore, was so incomprehensible. I know this is something that a lot of other creatives have experienced, a lot of other Canadian models have experienced, and international models. I'm here to tell you guys my story because what is happening between the US and Canada with the CBP protocols is terrifying. But I'm sharing this story with you guys because I think it's really important that you know and you understand that their outright abuse of power, their determining factors that somebody does not have rights or freedoms in between a post that they determine is borderless, has been happening and is only going to get worse. I'm sharing this with you because this is something I've sat on for a very long time, just out of fear. Just out of fear, because what if they don't let me back? They caused me so much anxiety. The way that these officers treated me was with nothing but disrespect, violation, and for no lack of a better word, just abuse of power. And I really hope to our Southern friends that one day it'll be easier for us to come back. I'll miss you guys, I'll miss the States. I simply cannot relive the trauma that I experienced at the hands of the CBP officers in Calgary and then again in Atlanta. And I cannot and will not experience that voluntarily again. Thanks for watching, guys. I know it was a heavy one, but with the state of the world right now, there's a lot that we need to talk about, so let's just talk about it. I'll see you next Sunday.